What's going on, everybody? Hey, this is going to be a new thing that we're going to start doing because we've decided that you don't get enough of us on social media. So, what's going on, Tracy? Everybody knows me. This is going live on all my profiles. So, what's going on, Tracy?
Well, I am so happy to join you on this this festive day that you're
I
going to
know
announce. I'm
this
excited.
is a this is a big day. So, if you guys have been paying attention to social media today, then you all know that today is International Burrito Day. And this is probably, if you live in Southern California, one of the best days on the planet. So, first of all, Tracy, what is your favorite burrito
Ah,
and where do you get it? And then we're going to talk about fun facts of the
I
burrito.
knew I knew you were going to ask that, but I am a breakfast burrito lover. A cotijan with a large diet coke in the morning after you like partied a little bit too much the night before.
Nice.
And I don't get potatoes in it, it's just bacon, egg, and cheese. And I don't use salsa, I use ketchup. So I
Ooh.
know that is like
Ooh.
not supposed to be allowed in San
Oh
Diego.
my God, my heart hurts for
Yes, but
you.
they give me these ketchup packets that I think have been in storage for like 10 years and they're like crusty and
That's
so I
because
usually
nobody puts ketchup on a burrito.
for me. So I usually bring it home and eat it so I could use my own ketchup so it's not all gross. But what about you?
Nice. Nice. So I have a couple favorite taco shops. There is one place over by my office in Bakersfield called My Papa's Tacos.
Mhm.
Um, they make a really good carne asada burrito. I love their carne asada burrito. I also love El Zarape in University Heights. They make a really good carne asada burrito too. I like Colimas on University Avenue in North Park, but I had one bad experience there where I waited literally 30 minutes to get my food. And then when I asked the girl, I was like, "Can I get my food?" She says, "Well, we're really busy." And I'm like, "But
30
you served
minutes.
like 18 people ahead of me." So that was the only downside to that. But they
Yeah.
make really good burritos as well.
All right.
But you mentioned breakfast burritos. So here's a fun fact about the breakfast burrito. Breakfast burritos made their debut in 1975 at a Mexican restaurant named Tia Sophia's in New Mexico. That was the first time
Wow.
a breakfast burrito was introduced. But do you have
The year I was
any?
born. It's a good
Oh,
year.
yeah, it was a year
I mean,
after I was
come
born.
on.
So, do you know when the first time the word burrito was introduced into the dictionary?
I have no idea. No.
1895.
Whoa, that's a long time ago.
1895. And do you know why it's called a burrito?
I have no idea now.
Okay,
You
see,
know a
these are
lot.
all the things I researched. It's called a burrito because burrito means little burro in Spanish,
Oh,
and they named it the burrito because you know the little blanket packs that
yeah,
burritos carry? Yeah, that's why they called it a burrito.
interesting.
Fun fact about burritos. I've already gotten people, I posted a little video about it earlier today, so I'm already getting people commenting about the history of the burrito. So yeah, it's kind
It's
of fun.
interesting, like, I'd like to see where people like, tell people to post, like,
Mhm.
where's your favorite place in San
Oh,
Diego
yeah,
to get a
absolutely.
burrito? Like, we wanna
Absolutely.
know for
I
sure.
want to definitely know where your favorite
Have
place
you
is to
ever
get a
done,
burrito.
like, the California burrito with, like, the
Oh, for
carne and the
sure.
fries and the
Oh, for
sour cream
sure.
and the guac?
For sure. In
Mhm.
my 20s,
Yeah, right?
practically
No.
2 or 3 times a week.
You can't do that now, no.
Yeah, not so much anymore, not so much anymore, but, hey, so, I wanted to talk about something that we've been kind of promoting for a couple of weeks, and that was the, Dream for All program, which was a spectacular program while it lasted, which was, like, what,
Uh,
4.5
as
seconds?
long as a burrito lasts when you eat it,
Yeah, exactly.
for real.
So,
Uh,
Tracy, the bad news is what?
yeah, we got a message today. I mean, we're hustling on this program. You and I mean, marketing and I've been doing videos and realtor videos and it came out March 27th and we got a notification today that if you don't lock in the loan as of tomorrow, which holds the funds for that client, you're out of luck. So the program
Mhm.
has run out of funds. It's taken all of I think what has it been? 4 weeks? I think, since the 27th, approximately.
27th. It hasn't even been 4
Oh,
weeks because it came out the 27th, so it's about, 2.5 weeks, maybe almost 3
yeah.
weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's the fastest I've seen anything move in the mortgage industry. So, because you have to be in contract, right? And you have to
Right.
disclose the loan, and then you lock the loan, and that locks the funds with CalHFA. But it'll be interesting because, in my opinion, I mean, loans are going to fall out of the system,
Mhm,
right? People maybe didn't qualify right, they didn't calculate income right.
mhm,
It had to be a true first time home buyer where they haven't owned any kind of home in 3 years, and so people like that own an investment property, things like that. I just don't know what's going to happen, but ideally, the program's going to refund itself because you have to stay in the loan for 12 months because it's a
mhm,
conventional first mortgage. So I think at that time, people will like you could do a one-time refinance or sell, and
mhm,
then they're going to get that money back plus the appreciation. I think that'll refund itself, but
mhm, mhm.
not anytime soon.
Yeah, c'est la vie.
There
It's
are
just
other
the way it
down
is.
payment
There
assistance
are.
programs, you
There
know.
are. There's a lot, and one of the things I always do when I do open houses is, um, and I kinda quietly just put this little thing up there. I go to the California Association of Realtors website, and there's a website where you can literally put in the address of every single property in San Diego, and then it pulls up how many programs are available
Cool.
for that house, and then it'll tell you, the funds are out on certain ones, like 4 or 5 of them, but most houses qualify for at least 19 different, programs, which is,
Yeah.
phenomenal. I mean, because that's unheard of.
Yeah, I mean, we have access to one. I just a client that I pre-approved for that, I just switched over. They don't get as much assistance, but it'll cover 3.5% down. I flip them to FHA, so it'll
Mhm,
cover their full down payment. We'll look to get a credit from the seller for closing costs.
mhm,
And then you don't have to necessarily meet the debt to income ratio guidelines that you had to meet
right.
with the Dream for All. So, there's still options out there for people. We knew it was going to go quick.
Mhm,
But it's good that California stepped up and we're able to get families into houses. I mean, it just shows the affordability is an issue, right,
mhm,
in
mhm.
California with prices, and this is what's helped people. 20% is a lot of money of 700 grand,
Yeah, oh, that's a
right? So
lot of
with our
money.
average sales price, yeah. So in
Yeah.
I think in the first like 9 days, 48 million was locked up, or the first 4 days or something crazy. But moving on.
Moving on, we are moving on. So let's talk about the other thing that we wanted to talk about, and that is VA home loans.
Yeah,
Because interesting fun fact, I'm not sure if you knew this or not. Um, PCS season is coming up, and PCS means that people are moving. We're gonna start moving, and I just realized that I just learned, or I didn't realize, I just learned that there's an actual season where the military moves, service members, and it's called, PCSing, and so, since San Diego's a big military town, let's talk a little bit about that.
yeah, so, I don't know that specific time period, but I'm sure you do. Is that coming up soon? Oh,
April.
okay, so we're in
It's
it.
coming up. Yeah.
That's great.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I mean, I think especially with San Diego being such a big military community, we don't really talk about this program enough, and there are so many service members that are either active or that are veterans that have this entitlement and have this benefit that don't even know what the benefits are, of a VA loan. So, I have 2 active loans going on right now, and the great thing is, one is for almost $900,000 and there's no down payment necessary. So you
Mhm.
talk about, down payment assistance. This you don't need assistance because there's no down payment on a VA
Right.
loan. There's no county loan limits anymore. There's no monthly mortgage insurance. The rates are super competitive. You can't pay more than 1% origination as the veteran. So there's so many benefits to this type of loan. I wanted to, yeah, get this message out there, for you and your audience in case they know of someone, that served.
Yeah, and there's gonna be and so this is for active duty and veterans, right?
Required. Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm,
So you just have to have, we pull what's called our certificate of eligibility. It's
mhm,
really easy to pull. We go into the VA portal and get that for you, and it'll tell us that you have your entitlement benefit. And it's interesting because people could have two VA loans, which they don't even know. Or if you're married to someone, let's say, and you're both either veterans or active, you only have to use the entitlement of one person, right?
mhm,
So if you want to buy again, you can use the entitlement of the other person and rent out, the home. It has to be owner occupied. So
mhm,
that's the caveat to VA loans, but
mhm.
um, it's great. I mean, and if you're classified greater than 10% disabled, you'll see exempt on your certificate, and that means you don't have to pay a funding fee to the VA, which
That's
helps them
cool.
also. Yeah.
That's cool, and typically, what is that funding fee? What does that look like?
So they just got reduced actually. So if you're using it for the first time, I'm going to go off of my memory, but if you're using it for the first time and you're putting no money down, it's usually, I think it's at 2.3% now of the sales price, but it's
Mhm.
not paid out of pocket. So it's financed into the loan. So that'll just be within that loan amount and within that payment that we quote the borrower upfront.
Nice, 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 and let's talk to people about how long does it take to actually get up to apply and get approved for a loan?
I mean, it's the same on any type of loan product. So, I've had people literally, this is the example of I have a teacher that luckily is going to take advantage of the down payment assistance, but her dad called me. They were looking last year and they're like, hey, we're ready. She filled out the new link. I got her documents. I pre-approved her the same night. They submitted an offer today. So it took 24 hours literally for her to like go look at a place, get pre-approved, submit an offer, and we should be in contract tomorrow. Um,
Good.
yeah, so it's that quick, and Chris, you do a great job talking to your clients up front and setting expectations and figuring out what they want. And so it makes it a lot easier too when I have that
Yeah.
conversation.
Well, the other thing I wanna address with people is, around June-ish last year, the market kind of stalled out a little bit because the interest rates went up, and now everybody has kind of come accustomed to this new interest rate, and
Mhm.
now we are seeing people, they're like, "Okay, we're kind of okay with this," because historically, this is kind of the norm, that 2.5, 3%, 4% interest rates were not the norm, right? Like when I got into
Right.
real estate 16 years ago, I was writing contracts at 6.5 and 7%. We've talked about that before. So
Mhm.
now everybody's kind of becoming accustomed to that. Open houses are busy again. Um, there's multiple offers being written now. It's not going bananas like it was 2 years ago where you're writing it for 150,000
Right.
dollars over. You're not having to, pay for the seller's kid to go to college, right? You're not having to
Waiving
do any of
everything. Yeah.
right? Yeah, because that was a big deal. That's what we were doing. But
Yeah.
you're not having to do all of these things anymore. But you have to be competitive, right?
Yeah.
You have to be competitive. So if you're someone, the advice I want to leave people with on this is that if you are thinking of making a purchase, the best thing to do is, especially if you need closing costs, right? So we really need to look at off-market properties, where I can dig for you. I mean, it doesn't happen overnight, but I mean, it can, but it doesn't really happen
Yeah.
overnight. That's one thing. The second thing is, um, we have to make sure that you're looking at properties that are a little bit more seasoned on the market, right? So that way we might be able to get some of those closing costs paid for because if it's just new to the market, chances are maybe not so much.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we've been in this business a while. I mean, January, February, March tend to be like stale. We're coming off of the holidays. We're entering purchase season.
Hmm.
And so you want to be ready, right? Because it's like people want to get into the school district before,
Hmm.
right? That's a lot of people move. They want to make sure they're settled and moved into the school district. That's a big reason why people, do move, do buy or do sell and buy another property. So, that they want to get in usually around this time, like April through August.
Hmm.
It's kind of like a frenzy in the market again. And
Yep.
regardless, right? COVID, non-COVID.
Yep.
So I think that that's the thing is being prepared because if you all of a sudden drive by and see the house that you love and you want that house and you're not pre-approved, that 1 hour, that one day could mean that it all of a sudden goes pending. I mean, we've seen it happen all the
Yep.
time. So
Yep. Yep. So the market's still hot, and that's what I want to get across to people. Now, let's kind of switch gears
yeah.
just a little bit because there is something interesting happening in the market, and there are properties that are in default. Now, during 2020, 2021, there was this huge speculation that we would see this absolute flood of foreclosures because everybody was starting to go into forbearance. And um, that didn't happen. We're not seeing a flood of foreclosures,
Mhm.
but right before we went on the air, I checked. We're at a little more than 1,100 properties in San Diego County
Mm.
that are in pre-foreclosure right now. And tomorrow there are 9 properties that are scheduled to go to auction for the trustee sale, which is very minimal compared to what it was back in 2008, 7,
Yeah.
8, 9, 10, where you were getting like 40, 50, 60 houses every other day that are going into foreclosure. So that's not happening. But right now, a little over 1,100. Now, if we pull out the commercial and, because there's some like bowling alleys and shopping malls and stuff like that that are in foreclosure, you're looking, let's just say there's 200 of those properties. So it's a little over 900. And statistically speaking, 1 in every 4 people that are in distress will go into foreclosure, and it will be a bank-owned home. But there are options, and I want to talk about those options because it's super important. Let me grab my book real quick. I had
Go
to
for it.
lean around. But I want to talk about them because there's a couple things that people need to know if they're in distress. And I have been reaching out to people who are in distress and they're in whatever levels, but these are pretty much people who have notices of default filed against their properties. There's a lot of people with HOA liens on their properties as well. And
Yeah.
I'm
HOA
talking
and
like,
tax liens and things. Yeah.
yeah, HOA and tax liens. Now, the good news is the federal government is going to work with you if you've just got a federal tax lien. Just get into a payment plan. They're very, very easy to work with. The state, they're the ones that will not hesitate twice to drain your bank account. So
Right.
ask a realtor who hasn't paid their taxes. They'll tell you. Someone who's W-2, ask them. They'll tell you.
Yeah,
But
and when you say pre-foreclosure, you mean that they're like the person is late on their payments, right?
correct,
And they
correct.
haven't been able to make an arrangement with their lender that they have currently.
Correct,
Okay.
correct, correct. But let's talk about what the lender has to do first. Now, very first, the lender, if they are, uh, if they are going to, or rather, if you are in default, let's talk about that for a second. If you are in default, if you've missed a payment within that first 45 days, the lender is required to to uh to help you avoid foreclosure. So they need to come up with some sort of plan for you, right? Now
Mhm.
they have to do that within the first 45 days. So you're going to start getting those phone calls. So mortgage payments are due on the 1st and they're late on the 16th. So you have from the 1st to the 15th to pay your mortgage payment. If it's not there by the 16th, it will be late. So you're going to get a phone call
Mhm.
after day 16.
Yeah.
Someone's going to start ringing the phone for you and wondering where your mortgage payment is. If you are in distress, then the lender is required to come up with some sort of workout plan for you, right? Or some sort of modification. Now, the problem with a lot of people who get into that position is, and depending on how far behind they are, that's the other thing. If you can't make one mortgage payment, chances are you can't make the second and the third, right?
Yeah, some things happened. Yeah.
Some things happen, job loss, something catastrophic, whatever it is. And there's no shame in it. It's just, it is what it is, right? Um, what if you can't make that payment now, best case scenario, the lender's going to say, okay, well, can you start making your payment on this date? If you can, we'll just tack on the balance at the end along with your late fees. That's best case scenario. But typically loan modifications don't work that way, right? Like they're going to want
Yeah.
their money back within like 6 months or so, or 5 months or 4 months. So they're going to have you pay your mortgage payment plus, and then late fees, blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah.
So, so typically that's where people start going, keep getting into trouble, right?
Yeah.
So here's the foreclosure timeline. From day one, when you miss your mortgage payment, it's recorded as a late against you. So you're automatically not going to be able to refinance, right? Because,
Yeah, well, it has to, if it's after the 16th, you're still okay. It has to go to the first of the following month for it to
okay.
be what's called a 1 by 30. So it's a
Mhm.
1 by 30-day late. And then normally what happens is if you don't catch up or you just make one payment, but then you're late on the next, it's called a rolling 30-day late. And so
Mhm.
you really, I mean, a 1 by 30 we could work with, but anything more than that, it starts to really have an impact on your credit score and your credit in general.
Okay. Yeah. So, I want to show a question. Tanya is asking, is there a concern for forbearances? Your distressed clients, is that because of COVID? She's curious. Yes, a lot of the people, the reason why people are going into pre-foreclosure or notice of default, right? And we're going to talk about the timeline here in a second. But the reason that is happening, a lot of people, is because of COVID. So they've gotten their loan modifications. They were in forbearance. Not everybody. Other people have lost their jobs or divorce or death or loss of income. There's been people who I've talked to that lost a spouse. Well, when you lose 50% of your income, that's happening. And so people are getting into that distress situation. But part of it is because of forbearance, because when they work out the loan modification, they're taking that and they're reworking the loan, because in most cases, the lender still wants to get paid in the time frame of the note that you signed. So
Yeah.
that is a very good question. Um, but let's talk about the foreclosure timeline. So within the first 90 days, if you do not make your mortgage payments, then there is what's called a notice of default that's filed against the property.
Mhm.
That is recorded at the county recorder's office. It puts everybody on alert that you are in distress, and it shows up on the tax records, so anybody can look those things up. You still have time to come current on that. Then if you come current on all your mortgage payments and late fees, then they will rescind that notice of default. That goes away, no problem. And then
Mhm.
if you miss the next mortgage payment, then the whole thing starts over again. And I
Mhm.
have seen that happen where people have come current and then missed the next mortgage payment after it's been rescinded.
Yeah.
Those things happen. Um, but let's say you don't, and then after that next 90 days, okay, that is when the lender, so you've come up to day 180, and that's when the lender can file what's called a notice of trustee sale. Now, a notice of trustee sale puts you on notice that the lender is about to foreclose on your home, and they have to post it in several areas. Now, you're going to get lots of certified mail. You'll get lots of phone calls on the default, the notice of default, the notice of trustee sale. They are going to contact you multiple ways. They're going to send it to you via FedEx, mail,
Yeah.
call. They'll post it on your door.
Mhm.
They're going to make sure that you know it. And then they're going to have somebody take a picture of the fact that it was posted on your door. Then the lender can, if they've done everything properly and followed the steps of the foreclosure laws, 21 days later, they could sell your house on the courthouse steps, trustee sale. Um, Most lenders aren't doing it that quick, because let's face it, lenders aren't in the business to own property. So the first step would be for them, your first option, loan modification. If loan modification does not work, there are other steps you can follow. Now, I am not an attorney. Tracy's not an attorney. I am working to get a bankruptcy attorney on here because I'd love for a bankruptcy attorney to talk to us, um, uh, to tell us what that does to the foreclosure process. It will stall it.
Yeah.
It won't stop it, but it'll stall it, right? Like you file a BK, it's temporary. It's like it's a temporary stall, but it won't stop it because the lender wants their money,
Yeah.
right? Um, so there is no guarantee you will keep the home. It will negatively impact your credit. Your credit's already
Shot.
been impacted. Yeah. But it will stall it for a short period of time. So it won't actually stop the foreclosure process. Um, but that is one option. Another option, a deed in lieu of foreclosure. Okay, so this is not something most banks will want to do. And the only reason for that is banks are not in the business to own real estate. They're not in the business to own property. So they don't want to keep your asset unless they have to. So what happens at a trustee sale is there's an auctioneer, and the auctions in San Diego are live. They're not online. Some states are online. I know Florida is online. They do all of it online. But what it does is it will go to auction. There is an auctioneer. There are people standing around waiting to bid on the property. If they don't sell the property to the I don't know if you can hear the dogs in the background, but
It's okay. It's cute.
that's what it is, folks, is the dogs in the background. But what they do is the bank will then take it back. Then it becomes a bank-owned property. Now, if somebody buys the property on the courthouse steps, they become the owner of the house. They get it. They'll make contact with you to have you leave the house, removed from the house, give you a cash for keys, or an eviction process will start going through. Same thing with if the bank takes it over. If the bank does take it over, that exact same thing will happen, except it'll probably be a realtor um, like myself who will come to the door and offer you options, right? Like we're going to offer options to you to leave the house. Typically, the bank will give you cash for keys. It's anywhere from like $2,000 to $5,000. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. To leave the house in decent condition. If you don't leave the house, that's where the bank will actually have you evicted and
Right.
removed from the house. Now, foreclosure, that's the foreclosure process. If they take the property back. If they take the property back in the foreclosure process, those are all the things that will happen. But you can be expected at that point to be evicted from your home. I will tell you that it is definitely not, none of this is a pleasant experience. But one thing I know most people don't want is to have the sheriffs literally come and lock you out of the house. So we're
Yeah.
trying to avoid that. So your other option is to do a short sale.
Mhm.
Now, a short sale, here's the thing, a lot of people have equity and they have a ton of equity. So you can pay off your mortgage.
Yeah.
Most people, not everyone, but most people, they have a ton of equity in these properties. The mortgage can be paid off, late fees. You'll still have the hit that you missed your mortgage payment, but it's not going to be as bad, right?
That's what I was
And
saying
it's
is
not.
like sell. Yeah, if you know that this is going to happen and you can't get caught up, it's so worth talking to you, Chris, and figuring
Mhm,
out what your house is worth and
mhm,
selling it before you can completely ruin your credit and
right.
you have to wait and we'll go through that, a certain number of years before you could ever buy again. But
Mhm.
most houses do have appreciation right now,
Yeah, most
for
of them do.
sure.
In fact, there was some statistic, and I wanna say it's something insane, like 81 or 91% of houses have equity. So if you are in distress, chances are your home has equity and you can pay off all your loans. And if you have liens,
Start
we
over.
have to look into all these things. So um, we have to double check, we have to pull title and we need your statements and those kinds of things. Um, um, oh, Tanya says thank you. She needs to
Bye,
sign off.
Tanya.
Thanks, Tanya. Thanks for watching. But yeah, most people have a ton of equity. So we want to make sure that if you do, that you can participate in that because it's not going to take as big of a hit. But even if you don't, the dogs are out of the bedroom right now. I can hear them. Even if you don't, oh no, Eric just closed the sliding door. That's what
Okay.
it was. See, this is live, folks, and I'm doing it from home. So
It's all right.
the puppies are in the back. But anyway, um, yeah, if we do that, then you can just take that hit and it won't be as long. But Tracy, let's talk about timelines
Yeah.
in terms of purchasing again. If you are in foreclosure, what happens with the purchase timeline?
Yeah, so it's from like the end date, right? Because you were talking about like that whole process. So it's when it's the finalized date of the short sale or the finalized date of the foreclosure. And so if you're looking to do conventional financing again, you're going to have a waiting period of 4 years.
Mhm.
And so sometimes timelines can be cut shorter for an extenuating circumstance, but losing your job is not an extenuating circumstance. It's going to be like health or death related.
Mhm.
That could be an extenuating circumstance. VA is the most lenient, so it's 2 years, and FHA is 3 years. So each program has a little bit different of a guideline. So again, it just depends on when that final end date is. So you really, like we talked about, you really want to try to avoid that. And also the lates on your mortgage, right? Because if you have a payment that you've missed and it rolled and it's a 30-day late, and then you don't make it and it rolls again, it's a 60-day late, and that knocks you out from refinancing.
Mhm.
So, if you, and again, if you've taken your loan out 5, 10 years ago and, your balance is lower and your payments higher, I mean, look to refinance into a new 30-year fix, try to lower your
Mhm.
payments maybe that are more manageable.
Mhm.
Get a cash out refi, maybe pay off all your debt and have more disposable income, before things get to the point that you're talking about. So
Yeah, there's options, and that's what I wanna get across to people is that there are options for
for sure.
sure.
Mhm.
For sure, for sure. Well, Tracy, that's about all I have. I just had burritos. I had the California Dream, which we got busted on because
Ugh,
it's gone. VA loan. So hey, that's
that's
good
a
because people
positive. It is a
people are
positive.
moving to
Yes.
San Diego. And then yeah, so we just want to make sure people are avoiding
Yeah,
foreclosure.
and I have well actually we, together we have a VA buyer's guide. So,
Hmm.
anybody that wants that, they can reach out to you or to me. It's free. And it
Yeah.
just breaks down, what a VA loan is, how to
Hmm.
qualify, or same with a home buyer's guide. We have resources for people.
Yeah.
So just reach out. Hopefully they message you if they want more info. We won't
Oh
stalk you, we won't spam you, we don't sell your information. Just let us know if you have questions
no.
and
We
we'll get you
might stalk you. We might say
maybe a
let's go
little
for
bit. You
coffee.
want
No,
us to stalk you though. No, I'm
yeah,
just
exactly. We're fun. We're fun to hang out with. All right. So next week, I don't know what we're going to talk about next week. We've got no burritos. I will say this though, June 23rd is National Donut Day. So we are going to get ready for that.
June 23rd.
June 23rd is National
That's
Donut
scary that
Day.
you know that because that's like
Yeah,
10
it's
months away.
yeah, well, see, I know. Hello. I like to eat.
Well, what we'll do maybe we'll stream live from a donut shop.
Oh, that could be
Why
fun.
not?
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, like,
something different.
yeah, Nomad Donuts, no well, they're not open at 7 o'clock, but we could do this earlier. I mean, who says
Yeah.
we have
I
to do
and
it
I
at
I would
7,
love to
right?
hear what your audience wants us to talk about. I mean, it's
Yeah,
we're
absolutely,
doing
I
this
would love
for
that.
them. Yeah, so
Yeah,
let us know. I mean, if there's a program or questions or ask
yeah,
the realtor, ask the lender, put us on the spot.
yeah, and we're always gonna talk about hot things going on in San Diego too, because that's important because we really want everyone to know what's going
Yeah.
on in San Diego.
Yeah, I did a video actually today. There's so many things for Easter weekend that are coming
Mhm.
up.
I'm
Um,
doing a video tomorrow about my top 3 favorite brunch spots in
yeah,
the city.
there's a lot. So there's I mean, there's Easter egg hunts and there's brunches and down here there's at the Bahia and there's George's on the Cove and there's in Mission Bay there's an Easter egg hunt and an Easter bunny and so there's a lot of great stuff going on this weekend. It should be pretty fun.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice, nice, nice. All right, love.
All
Well,
right.
thank you for coming on, and
You're
I
very welcome.
will talk to you soon.
Bye, Chris.
Bye-bye. Good night,
Bye.
everyone.